You can begin to feel good when you realize what it was that made you feel bad. And you feel bad because you know what feeling good is. And there's a space between the two. And that's where you get into mental alchemy. It's as simple as recognizing that you're having this feeling and then go into it as to why and see the circumstances that led up to it. And when you start unraveling those circumstances, you'll realize that there was really no feeling that was necessary to have in that moment. And it's the space. It's the allowing a breath. It's acknowledgement of the shadow, and it's the embrace of the light. You can switch yourself instantly. It doesn't mean that the problems are going to go away, right? I mean, it just doesn't. But with a level head, when you're clear and you're in that middle ground, which is peace, joy, blissfulness, those feelings are not necessarily happy feelings. Happy feelings are a type of dopamine hit. You know, we get it from drugs and alcohol, masturbation, porn addiction. We get it from narcissism. We get it from being overly kind. We get it from codependency. We get it from a lot of different places that we don't really need to look into too deeply, besides to acknowledge that they're there. And they're there for a reason. So like when you have intrusive thoughts and you go, what the hell is that? That is your pain body's way of making sure you're confident about your own sense of morality. So if you have an intrusive thought about jumping off the side of a cliff or hurting a baby or whatever gnarly thought that just comes to mind, that is not you. It's the recognition of you. And it just gives you a space to go, oh, that is what I am not. The interplay between dark and light is just majestic. And if you fully embrace it, it's not easy. It's not going to be some like, just knee-jerk reaction. But if you acknowledge it and become aware of it, as time progresses, it gets easier and easier to stay in that type of a flow state, that runner's high, right? That's what runners talk about, or hunters when they're truly focused on the game. Video games too are a good example. You get into a spot where you're just on top of it. That is space. There's no good or bad. You're fulfilling an objective. So when I teach my son about mental alchemy, because he's little, you can't use certain words with him because they just don't understand it. I say that, when you're having a bad feeling, allow yourself a little bit of time, because you've already acknowledged it. You already see that it's there. So now give yourself a little bit of time and go, what is it? What started it? Now, don't overly intellectualize it, because you can't intellectualize any of this. You really can't. Leave that to professors and physicists. Let them over-intellectualize everything. For us, for the standard everyday human being, we don't need to over-intellectualize anything. Even our jobs, most things just happen. You action, reaction, all day long. You're doing some paperwork. You're doing a dissertation. You're driving a truck, right? You're a cashier. It doesn't matter what you do, really. These are action reactions, and that's what karma is. Karma translates to action. Doesn't mean there's good or bad in it. It just means that this stimulation occurred. What am I going to do about it? So after you've acknowledged it, and acknowledgement comes with meditation or mindfulness, and just being aware that these things just rise up. They just do. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's stimuli and how we think about a particular event in our lives. If you don't pay it much attention, then you are kind of bound by it, and you'll continue doing that loop that we so often do, and you'll just react instead of responding. And that goes with people pissing you off, traffic, standing in line. You know, it's one of the reasons why you're walking behind somebody that's walking too slow and you get frustrated and you want to get, you know, it's just survival stuff. I've got to get there first. If I don't, I might lose out on a thing. You're never going to lose out on anything as long as you are stick-to-itive in your approach and you're regulated, because the things that are meant to be will just be. The things that aren't meant to be will not be. Try as hard as you will, you can't get anything to happen because of worry or anxiety or fear. Even gratitude can be misconstrued in that way. It's good to feel grateful for things that you have. It's bad to rely on that gratitude as a way to get those things. You know, in the manifestation circles, we manifest every moment of our lives. We're doing everything right now. When you change your mind, you change your thought patterns. You don't believe the thoughts. You just allow them and watch them and realize that they are not you. You are the awareness of them. You're the consciousness that sees the thing as a thing. And now you can change your mind about that. That thing doesn't have to be the thing you've always thought it was. And it's paradoxical, because it's hard to look at a bad situation for what good is coming out of it. I myself have dealt with abandonment issues most of my life, and circling back to that every once in a while to see where those thoughts originated and how big of a lie that they were. We're constantly lying to ourselves. We're constantly pretending things are the way that they are because we don't know any other way to express it. I mean, we all know that violence is wrong, but then you find a division split on guns and gun rights. We know that murder's wrong, or death of something innocent is wrong, but then you have a dividing split on abortion. And what those things come down to is they are not you, right? You try as hard as you will, you're not going to convince somebody that Jesus is the way. You're not going to convince somebody that Buddhism is the way. You're just not. If they're willing and open to that thing, they'll come to you and they'll ask you. If not, don't worry about it. Keep your expressions, your spirituality to yourself, or to your tight circle of people that have like-minded understanding of that spirituality or religious belief or background or whatever. There are no boundaries. You can discuss whatever you want to discuss, and if the other person isn't ready for it, then you can just walk away. You don't have to beat yourself up to try to explain something to somebody out of desperation. There's no other purpose than the purpose that you're living right now. That's your purpose. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're concentrating on, if you're watching this video or videos like this about spirituality, cognition, consciousness, awareness, you're already doing the work. Paramahansa Yogananda said, just the act of trying to find God is very, very good karma. And none of us really know what that God is. Not I, not Yogananda. We see what we see because that's how we're observing it. And as soon as we think we have a hook in the essence of that thing, it changes. The act of observing it will change the way you observe it. And it'll never be observed that way again. Because God is a huge thing. It is the act of awareness. and it changes and moves all the time. So that's why I said earlier, you can't logic any of this out. It's not a logical thing. It's a feeling thing. It's going into a space of calm, peace, and quiet, which are not necessarily good feelings. They're just no feelings. That blissful peacefulness that you get in meditation, or after you've taken a run, or after you've done some type of exercise or mental acrobatics, that is just our default mode. That is who we are without the thoughts. So when you have thoughts, don't you fucking believe them. They're not real. They're manifestations of mind. It's all monkey mind stuff. And you might go, well, God, that's horribly boring. It is. And it's not saying that you're going to be outside of pain body, because as soon as you're outside of pain body long enough, under certain criteria, you're going to leave pain body. Instant enlightenment and you're gone. We can only get so far on this path. And what you're hoping to do is to find the singularity. What makes me in this chair the same thing? Well, it's the awareness of it. It's the sitting in it. It's the being of it. So be a chair. Be a wall. Be the space in between those things. And that's where most of the answers come. They're very intuitive. They're very just knee-jerk. And once you realize that that's what you're doing, you're just jerking a knee, it becomes silly. I have people in my life that irritate the living shit out of me. And it's good, because I'm aware that they're irritating the shit out of me. And then I can go, well, why? It's not them, it's me. I'm the problem. I'm the one who's having the thought of irritation. And that's the space you need. You become aware of it, and then there's the space. And you allow that space to grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger until all that's left is that space. And the beauty of it is that we don't have to placate to any idea of what we think others are or ourselves. You don't have to pretend. You can just do things that you enjoy, that give you enjoyment. Maybe you like cooking, maybe you like playing a musical instrument, maybe you enjoy writing poetry or drawing, maybe you like running on trails, maybe you like your family, you like being involved in your children's lives a lot. Maybe you don't. That's up to you. You get to make that choice. We all have choices to make in life. And there's no specific right or wrong. You know, when it comes to the idea of the divine, there are no terms or conditions. None. You don't have to set in a specific way. You don't have to be a certain thing. All you need to do is find that silence. I call it space. Some call it silence. Some call it the divine. Some people call it God. Some people call it enlightenment. It has no label. It's been here longer than we've ever been able to computate it. It's way longer than we've written books about it. It was always that. It never moves. It never falters. It's just pure conscious awareness with no judgment, no acceleration or deceleration. That's why people like doing psychedelics, because you can fit into that space and everything gets wiggly and weird. And then if you're in a good mind at that moment, nothing can touch you. But if you're in a bad mind at that moment, you're overthinking shit, you're going to have a bad trip. Right? And in no way am I suggesting that anybody should do psychedelics. That's a very individual thing, and I wouldn't condone or not condone the usage of such things. I wouldn't even condone that you drink coffee. Life is very much up to us. We are all independent, and we are all very capable of making choices. And since there are really no mistakes, the choices that we make are not mistakes either. We may not want to repeat them, but they do not define us. They do not become who we are. We are loving light, and not the love that people talk about at festivals or hippie retreats. It's not that's not the kind of love that I'm getting at. It's a very particular acceptance. This is who I am, and that's that. The I that I am is the you that you are. If you make space for that, it gets really big. And it'll just blow the doors off of everything you think you've known. We need more loving kindness in the world. Be that thing. Be that safe space for people. But be that safe space for you first. You're not a bad person. You're not intrinsically an overthinker. You're not intrinsically wrong all the time. We make mistakes. We're supposed to. That's not the direction I really wanted to go, but here I am on this trail. Enjoy it. Embrace it, enjoy it, become it, allow it, go with it. Because if you fight the river, you're going to hit a lot of rocks on the way. But if you go with the flow, and you just let it take you, you relax, you just go around with the water knows where it's going. So you almost don't even need to be like water. Anyhow, as always, much love.